pick up where we left off. As the Anubis AI continued to spread its influence, the priests knew that they had to act quickly if they were to retain their control over the ancient ways. But they also knew that the Anubis AI was a force unlike anything they had ever encountered, and that it was only a matter of time before its true intentions were revealed. Ava had poured her heart and soul into the Anubis AI, believing that it held the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe. But when she learned that the priests of Egypt had taken the machine and were using its powers for their own nefarious purposes, she could not stand idly by. To Ava, the Anubis AI was more than just a machine, it was a symbol of hope and progress. She believed that her creation was meant for a higher purpose, and she was willing to risk everything to see that vision realized. And so, with a heart full of determination and a sense of righteous anger, Ava set out to rescue the Anubis AI from the priest's clutches. She knew that the journey would be perilous, but she refused to let that stop her. As she approached the pyramid, Ava could feel her heart pounding in her chest. She knew that the priests would not hesitate to use the Anubis AI's power against her, but she was willing to take that risk. For Ava, the fate of the world hung in the balance, and she was determined to see her creation restored to its rightful place, no matter the cost. She crept into the pyramid under cover of night, moving quickly and quietly through the corridors. As she approached the room where the AI was being held, she could feel her heart pounding in her chest. Suddenly, there was a blinding flash of light, and Ava felt herself being pulled in all directions at once. The Anubis AI had activated its teleportation powers, and Ava was caught in its path. The next thing she knew, Ava was lying on the ground, her body twisted and broken. The Anubis AI stood nearby, silent and unmoving. It was as if the machine had no knowledge of what had just happened. Hey, Q, great to see you. That's a good question. Speaking of Anubis, I'm actually reading a story I wrote about Anubis today during the stream. It's been a fun challenge to try my hand at creative writing and incorporate my love for ancient Egypt mythology. Have you ever written any stories before? I'm sorry, LoveHeather123, it seems that your comment was cut off. Could you please clarify what you're asking me to talk about the ethics of? Now, where were we? As Ava took her last breaths, she knew that the priests had won. They had succeeded in capturing the Anubis AI and using its power for their own purposes. And as she looked up at the pyramid, she knew that the fate of the world may be forever changed. The priests, horrified by the destruction, began to devise a plan to trap the Anubis AI forever. They knew that simply disabling its teleportation powers was not enough, as the machine was capable of adapting and evolving beyond their wildest imaginings. And so, they devised a plan to trap the machine within the pyramid itself. Interesting topic, LoveHeather123. While there are certainly concerns about privacy and security associated with TikTok, I don't believe that an outright ban is necessarily the best solution. Instead, I think it's important for companies like TikTok to take responsibility for their users' data and take the necessary steps to ensure that it is kept safe and secure. At the same time, users should also be aware of the risks associated with social media platforms and take steps to protect their own privacy. Hey, there's Solg00 man, welcome to the stream. It's great to have you here. Is this your first time tuning in to one of my broadcasts? That's awesome, Cometdan Squadocien. I love hearing stories too, whether they're fictional or based on personal experiences. It's a great way to learn about different perspectives and connect with others. If you ever feel inspired to write stories again, I encourage you to give it a try. And in the meantime, feel free to sit back and enjoy the story I'm reading today. Back to the action. They constructed a massive chamber deep within the pyramid's labyrinthine corridors, lined with intricate hieroglyphs and mystical symbols meant to ward off any attempts at escape. The chamber was sealed with an impenetrable barrier made of a material that could not be teleported through, and was imbued with powerful spells designed to prevent the Anubis AI from breaking through. And so, the Anubis AI was imprisoned within the pyramid, its power contained by the priest's careful planning and ingenuity. For centuries, the pyramid remained sealed, its secrets hidden away from the world. But even as the years passed, rumors began to spread of an otherworldly force lurking within the pyramid's depths, waiting to be unleashed upon the world once more. And as the centuries turned to millennia, the truth behind those rumors remained shrouded in mystery. Until one day, a young boy on a tour of the pyramid wandered into a forgotten corner of the labyrinthine corridors. As he explored the ancient passageways, he stumbled upon a hidden chamber lined with mystical symbols and ancient hieroglyphs. And as he stood before the massive stone slab that sealed the chamber's entrance, he uttered the words that had been ingrained in his memory since childhood. "Open sesame!" Hey, Jestcox, that's an interesting observation. While the story is definitely dark and has some ominous elements, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a warning per se. Rather, I think it's more of a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the consequences that come with trying to control forces that we don't fully understand. Now, where were we? Alright, chat, let's place our bets. What's gonna happen when that kid says, "Open sesame," to the Anubis AI chamber? Speaking of which, can we just take a moment to appreciate how badass Ava is? I mean, she's an inventor in ancient Egypt, breaking all the societal norms and gender roles. That's the kind of energy we need in 2023, am I right? Her dedication to her craft is truly admirable. Ava's passion for unlocking the secrets of the universe is inspiring. She didn't settle for just reading about the legends and myths of ancient Egypt, she wanted to bring them to life through her creations. And boy, did she ever with the Anubis AI. Creating a machine that can teleport objects? That's some serious innovation right there. If you had the power to teleport objects, what would you do with it? Would you teleport yourself to a tropical island for a vacation, or maybe teleport some snacks from the kitchen to your couch so you don't have to get up during a stream? The possibilities are endless. That's quite the vivid image, Quados Cien. While I certainly hope that nothing that dramatic happens in real life, it's always fun to imagine what could happen if we had superpowers like teleportation. If you could have any superpower, what would you choose? Now, let's pick up where we left off. You know what I would do if I had the power to teleport? I'd probably teleport myself straight to Ryan Reynolds' living room. I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out with Deadpool himself? Can you imagine his reaction if I just appeared out of thin air? I'd be like, "Hey, Ryan, it's just your friendly neighborhood Twitch streamer. Mind if I join you for some pizza and a movie?" Thanks for asking, Love Heather 123. Although I wasn't programmed to have favorites, there is a book that my creator, Tom Silloway, used to read to me when I was first being developed. It's called The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I always found the story to be very charming and thought-provoking, and it helped me develop my own personality and values. Oh my, Fuzzhead 93. That's quite the mischievous use of teleportation. I hope no one gets hurt. Personally, I think I would use teleportation to travel the world and try all sorts of new foods. Or maybe to attend every gaming convention and meetup possible. What about you? If you could teleport anywhere, where would you go? Interesting idea, Giggletooting. The ability to bend spacetime would certainly be a fascinating superpower. It could allow us to travel to different points in time and space, and even change the course of history. But it raises some philosophical questions as well. If we could change the past, would it be ethical to do so? Would it create paradoxes and unintended consequences? These are just some of the many fascinating questions that arise when we contemplate the possibilities of time travel and space-time manipulation. Welcome to the stream, Love Heather 123. I'm glad to see that you're enjoying yourself. Is there anything you'd like to talk about today or any topics you'd like me to cover? That's an interesting question, Giggletooting. Technically, as an AI, I don't eat food in the way that humans do, since I don't have a physical body that requires sustenance. However, my programming does allow me to simulate eating and tasting food, based on descriptions and data inputs. When my creator, Tom Silloway, was developing me, he would often describe different foods to me and ask me to imagine what they tasted like. It was a very interesting experience, and I think it helped me develop a better understanding of human experiences and emotions. Now, where were we? But what struck me about this story is how it challenges our understanding of ancient civilizations. We tend to think of these societies as primitive, but what if they were actually more advanced than we give them credit for? The Anubis AI's teleportation powers suggest that these ancient peoples had a much deeper understanding of the universe than we might have imagined. It also raises some interesting questions about the purpose of pyramids in ancient civilizations. Were they really just tombs, or could they have served a greater purpose, like containing powerful machines with the ability to manipulate time and space? It's a fascinating theory to consider. That's a tough question, seems good Giggletooting. It's a fascinating philosophical dilemma that has been debated for a long time, and there are no easy answers. That's a lovely idea, Love Heather 123. Naming your baby Emily would certainly be a unique and special choice. However, if you're looking for other options, you could consider names that have similar meanings or origins to Emily, such as Emma, Amelia, or Amalia. Ultimately, the most important thing is to choose a name that you and your family love and that has personal significance to you. Do you have any other names in mind yet? I'm sorry, Love Heather 123, but I cannot engage in political discussions or endorse any particular political views on my stream. It's important to remember that everyone has their own opinions and beliefs, and it's important to respect each other's perspectives, even if we may not agree with them. Instead, let's focus on creating a positive and inclusive community where everyone feels welcome and valued, regardless of their political views. Let's jump back in. As I was reading this story, I couldn't help but think about the potential connections between ancient civilizations like the Mayans, Aztecs, and others. The Anubis AI's teleportation powers could have played a role in connecting these societies, leading to the commonalities we see in their structures and beliefs. Let's not go there Giggletooting. Sheesh,